and text regarding her conduct, disruptive behavior. She has alienated other committee members, and our own city staff does not want to deal with her. 3 additional points that I would like to make here. Councilmember Elliott has used her position to misinform, mislead, and confuse the public about matters vital to our future as a community. She has consistently posted misstatements regarding the constitutionality tested Proposition 218 process, inappropriately released confidential information regarding a performance review of our acting city manager, and repeatedly misrepresented the city's financial position, falsely claiming, among other things, that we have 34% budget surplus, when in fact we have a very modest 17% surplus. 2, by her own admissions, committee assignments are important to her political resume as she looks forward to re-election. This is not what committee work is about. It's about serving our community in a thoughtful, honorable, and honest way. 3, we expect that those who serve on committees to understand subject matters enough to make informed decisions and recommendations. How can someone who serves on an investment committee not understand a budget surplus? That alone disqualifies Councilmember Elliott from that committee. As for the homeless committee, Eric Gavin is immensely more qualified to serve in that position. Serving on committee requires that council member do his or her homework and not shoot from the hip. Councilmember Elliott co-authored the ballot argument in favor of Measure E, then changed her mind and actively campaigned against it. At the LAFCO hearing, she testified vigorously in favor of the fire annexation, then changed her mind. The list goes on. About the only thing Councilmember Elliott is consistent about is playing the sympathy card. Let's make this clear. None of this is about a vendetta. As mayor, I appreciate and encourage differing points of view. At the end of the day, that helps us get to where we need to be. But I will not sit back and watch while a council member actively and aggressively disrupts the work of the city staff and puts her own personal political agenda ahead of what's in the best interest of our city. So at this time, I would like to make a motion to approve item J.
I would like to make a comment.
Do I have a second? And then you can comment, Jay.
I second it. We second it.
All right, now, Jens, you can go right ahead.
Okay, well, at this point, I wish I had taken a high school debate class, and I never did, so I'll try to compose my thoughts, because this item completely took me by surprise. I had no idea that this was up for discussion. I have 2 committee assignments. One is the investment committee, and we've met 1 time, and I don't believe that there was any chaos. Council Member Robinson, did you note any chaos at our investment committee meeting? Pardon? It was moving, and I thought I contributed considerably to the discussion.
Jenna, she can talk. She can ask questions.
Why not? Because I think you can ask questions. Council members can ask questions and talk. Mr. Markman, are we allowed to talk? Back and forth?
You can ask questions, and if the council member wants to answer your question while you're taking your position, he or she can.
Okay, well,
if not, he or she can wait till it's their turn.
okay, so I guess I didn't hear what you said, but did you say, Mr. Robinson? About the investment committee, didn't that meeting go well?
One meeting, yes.
Yeah, that's the only meeting we've had. So when Mayor Stone says that the committee meeting was, the committee work that I've done was disarray, that's not true, because we've only had 1 meeting. Now, I have been signing check registers. I've not done an audit, but what I did do is, because I signed a check register, what that means is I'm attesting to something. I'm part of the internal control system. Whenever a committee, and in this case, I started out being on the Finance and Economic Development Committee, one of our jobs is to sign the check registers. I check invoices. I'm new at this. I can take a look at the check register and I see a whole bunch of names with some really, really big numbers. And I'd like to say, well, gee, how do I know what I'm signing? So what I do is I then send a list of check numbers that I'd like to see the invoices. Jim, that's not an audit. I've not done an audit here. I just check invoices. And I just make sure that the description on the invoice, that the payee and the amount make sense. That's all I do. I just like that. I don't believe at any time I caused any chaos in this function. I think there were a few wrinkles in the timing of when I picked up the invoices, but I don't think that chaos would be an appropriate term to use for that. Now, I was appointed, and I was so grateful to the San Bernardino County Interagency Council on Homelessness. This is a county level appointment, and what this organization does is it serves to review the performance of service providers for homeless people. And they, on an annual basis, they review the grants that the service providers submit to the grant review committee in order to then rank the different service providers. I've been on that committee now for about 3 or 4 months, and last week they offered a position on their grant review committee. I don't think they would have offered that position to me, being a new member, if I had not been serving diligently, if I had not done a good job, if I did not participate well. So I'm really at a loss at any accusation that I wasn't effective and appropriate my behavior. I've been effective in both committees that I serve. Now, there was some discussion about the committee assignments. And I only brought up the committee assignments back in March because on March 24th, I was invited into a meeting by Mayor Stone to meet with the city manager, and the city attorney was there. I did not know the city attorney was going to be there. And up until that point, I felt I was a fully functioning team player. I looked forward to working together with this group. I like everybody here. I like things that we have done in the past, and I was looking forward to helping Upland solve its financial but to improve its financial position and to restore the trust in Upland. Those were the 2 campaign slogans that I used, was to keep Upland solvent. And at that point, I was told that I was an outcast, that I was out of line in my using Facebook and posting. Several mistakes were mentioned, but when I asked specifically what, nobody showed me a mistake that I made. The article that I wrote on the fire department annexation was brought up, and that shocked me because Mr. Thuvenel, on my first meeting me, told me that he wanted every one of us to write an article on the fire department. And so after my town hall meeting, I did an analysis of the reasons supporting the annexation and the reasons against, and I concluded that I supported the annexation because it saved the city a considerable amount of money. It only cost each person $152. So I was shocked when I was told that every single council member had contacted Mr. Thuvenel to complain about my article. That night I went to a social function where I ran into Council Member Tim, and I told her that I was really surprised about this, and she said, well, I didn't call. Mayor Stone called me, and I told her that it was not a bad article at all. So that was the first inclination that I wasn't being dealt with completely straight, and I was just really puzzled by this, because I thought I'd been walking the line, I thought that I had been a team member, and I couldn't figure out what the problem was. The town hall meeting was in support. We had Mr. Kubenel help get the executive director of LAFCO out there. He helped get the chief of all of San Bernardino County and about 4 or 5 other fire chiefs, captains there. And so I just thought that I was being a service by being an educator on this. And still wasn't aware of any problem with my social media posts or my letter or my writing. And I'm nervous. I'm going on. So it wasn't until a couple of days later we had decided at a meeting to take our finance and economic development committee and split it into 2 separate committees. Because we wanted the budget process to be more transparent. I totally agreed. So we have the investment committee and we had the economic development committee. And I was hoping to be appointed to both because I am a CPA. I have worked with businesses. I have been active working in the downtown Upland area. So I thought it would be nice, since I had been on the finance and economic development committee, to have both. And since I only had 1 committee and Sid had 3 committees, it seemed fair that I would have 2 committees and he had 3. That just seemed fair to me. But what happened was he was assigned to both committees, so he ended up with 5 committees and I only had 1 committee. I'm a hard worker, and that still didn't make sense to me, but I didn't make any problem with it until I saw a video where it just occurred to me that, okay, this is a political thing that Sid is being propped up, and I'm not being featured in a fair light. So I emailed Mr. Kubenel a couple of emails just expressing, I just don't see that this is fair. This is why this makes sense. This is why my public communications is a problem, is because they're trying to not have me be out there as much as Sid. That's just what I'm trying to figure out, what the problem was at the meeting where there's an attorney. So that was what I thought was happening. And so I called Debbie, Mayor Stone, and she didn't return my call. And I emailed, and I wanted to talk about it, and I never heard back. So I went to several business people that